top aide is indicating that Zelensky won't apologize. So this came out like around today. So everyone that's watching and tuning in right now, this is from RT. Zelensky will not apologize for the clash between Kiev will not apologize for the clash between Vladimir Zelensky and U.S. President Donald Trump at the White House. This is according to a top advisor to the Ukrainian leader, has said. He defended Zelensky's conduct last week's meeting, claiming that the U.S. should understand the necessity of piling maximum pressure on Russia. During the explosive meeting in the Oval Office, Zelensky cast doubt on the possibility of diplomacy with Russia and told Trump and his Vice President J.D. Vance that the U.S. will feel the impact of the conflict. Trump accused Zelensky of disrespect, ingratitude for past U.S. aid, reluctance to seek peace with Russia, and gambling with World War III. Following the spat, Zelensky again thanked the U.S. for its military assistance, claiming that Ukraine is ready to sit down at the negotiating table. While stopping short of apologizing, the Ukraine leader acknowledged that the sit-down with Trump did not go as planned. It's unfortunate that this happened, he added, urging the U.S. to continue diplomatic engagement. In an interview with the French magazine Politalik, defended Zelensky, insisting he was absolutely right in form and substance when he tried to convey to our American partners the key idea. Nothing will be done without coercion of Russia. Without coercion of Russia, there can be no peace negotiations. Our president entirely explains to our partners what this war is and who provoked it. But who's giving you the money, Lebowski? This is a problem for Zelensky and many people in his administration because the cards are not in his favor as it stands. And I want to pull this up here because this is Jeffrey Sachs. Again, please follow him in all of his work. But this is Professor Sachs on the Jeffrey Sachs on the 2014 Maidan coup in Ukraine. So let's play this video. It's a little bit long, but I think it's important we hear his words.
You don't get better evidence. The Russians intercepted her call and they put it on the internet. Listen to it. It's fascinating. I know all these people. By the way, by doing that, they all got promoted in the Biden administration. That's the job. Now, when the Maidan occurred, I was called immediately. Oh, Professor Sachs, the new Ukrainian prime minister would like to see you to talk about the economic crisis. Because I'm pretty good at that. And so I flew to Kiev and I was walked around the Maidan. And I was told how the U.S. paid the money for all the people around the Maidan. Spontaneous revolution of dignity. Ladies and gentlemen, please, where do all these media outlets come from? Where does all this organization come from? Where do all these buses come from? Where do all these people called in come from? Are you kidding? This is organized effort. And it's not a secret, except to citizens of Europe and the United States. Everyone else understands it quite clearly. Then came Minsk, and especially Minsk II, which, by the way, was modeled on South Tyrolean autonomy. And the Belgians could have related to Minsk II very well. It said there should be autonomy for the Russian-speaking regions in the east of Ukraine. It was supported unanimously by the UN Security Council. The United States and Ukraine decided it was not to be enforced. Germany and France, which were the guarantors of the Normandy process, let it go. And it was absolutely another direct American unipolar action with Europe, as usual, playing completely useless subsidiary role, even though it was a guarantor of the agreement.
ASDF multiple times says tipped $5. He wanted to say spontaneous revolution of dignity, my wazoo. There you go.
Trump
thank you for the super chat.
Raised the armaments. There were many thousands of deaths in the shelling by Ukraine in the Donbass. There was no Minsk II agreement. And then Biden came into office. And again, I know all these people. I used to be a member of the Democratic Party. I now am strictly sworn to be a member of no party because both are the same anyway. And because this is, the Democrats became complete warmongers over time, and there was not one voice about peace, just like most of your parliamentarians, the same way. So at the end of 1991, Putin put on the table a last effort in two security agreement drafts, one with Europe and one with the United States. The US put on the table December 15th, 2021. I had an hour call with Jake Sullivan in the White House begging, Jake, avoid the war. You can avoid the war. All you have to do is say NATO will not enlarge to Ukraine. And he said to me, oh, NATO's not going to enlarge to Ukraine. Don't worry about it. I said, Jake, say it publicly. No, we can't say it publicly. I said, Jake, you're going to have a war over something that isn't even going to happen? He said, don't worry, Jeff, there will be no war. These are not very bright people. I'm telling you. If I can give you my honest view, they're not very bright people. And I've dealt with them for more than 40 years. They talk to themselves. They don't talk to anybody else. They play game theory. In non-cooperative game theory, you don't talk to the other side. You just make your strategy. This is the essence of game theory.
Outstanding work. Outstanding work. And then, of course, a quick follow-up, because then I want to get your thoughts on this. This is Trump talking about the peace deal.
Zelensky inevitably comes back to the White House. What do you expect from him and in the agreement in that time?
Well, I think what's going to happen is Ukraine wants to make a deal because I don't think they have a choice. I also think that Russia wants to make a deal because in a different way that only I know. Only I know. They have no choice either.
And Zelensky.
So there you go. Let me pause that. Sorry about that, folks. That was a resume repeat. But the words of Jeffrey Sachs, especially in regards to the coup that took place in 2014, the ongoing intensification and conflict between Russia and Ukraine's leadership, the U.S. involvement, the Biden-Harris administration's epic failure, all around across the board. I think the whole world is hoping for this conflict to end because it's as though World War III is almost there, a breath away, and there is a chance for peace, and there's a huge gamble going on here. But listen to the words of what Jeffrey Sachs was saying. All of this did not need to happen. All these lives that were lost, the treasury that was spent, the weapons that were sent overseas, which, by the way, there's no accountability. Even Zelensky's own words, I don't know where the money is, which is kind of a big, like, hey, where's the money, buddy? What do you mean you lost the money?
Almost $70 billion. Was it like $66 billion we've sent there since this started in February of 2020?
Around that,
Yeah.
give or take, since 2022 altogether. I think it's more than that, but that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money that's gone. Lack of accountability and tracking of weapons, and of course the horrors of war on both sides. And we're seeing all of this being done in real time. And look, there are videos on social media, I'm not going to play them here, where you see both the Russians and the Ukrainians using drone tactics, or either that, seeing hand-to-hand combat. And it is out there on social media to see, where we're seeing people kill each other. It is an insane war. And when you have somebody like Donald Trump, before anything else, I want to pull this up here because this is just, it still resonates to this day with me, especially in regards for being a reference. But when you are the only reasonable person in the room, even better than one Nikki Haley, that's not her name, and I won't forget this. Let's see if we can actually get this to work up here, and there won't be any problems on it, on the screen at least. Let's pull this up here for everybody to witness. If it's going to work, please work properly. Yes, it is. This took place in 2024 in November. Or actually, correction, it's a flashpoint from May 2023. Sorry.
Can you say if you want Ukraine or Russia to win this war?
I want everybody to stop dying. They're dying. Russians and Ukrainians. I want them to stop dying. And I'll have that done. I'll have that done in 24 hours.
Now, you haven't done it in 24 hours, but hey, he's giving the old school challenge. Nick,
You know what is this is such a how cooked the liberal side of things are, because the fact that it's controversial what happened last Friday with that Zelensky and Trump meeting, which was just unhinged reality TV style comedy right there. But the fact that wanting a war to end is any kind of controversy is showing me how divided we are, because I think Trump is unhinged and I think he's hilarious, but the fact that he's trying to end this war and get a peace deal, I think is a good thing. Maybe his tactics are a little crazy. Maybe some of them are a little bombastic, but the fact that he wants to end this and get people to stop dying on both sides and have some sort of peace agreement. Also, let's extract our money back through the minerals in Ukraine. Sure, whatever. But to me, it's just, this should be something everybody can get behind. And I think that Zelensky has bought into the character that he's been playing the last few years. And it's like he's a character actor that now doesn't know the difference between who he was before and what this character is. And he's just,
he better figure it out now.
Yeah, he is not up to the task to do any kind of real negotiating. I don't think we should give them any more money until they want to negotiate at the very least. I think that nations talking to each other, as Mr. Saxon said, or said we weren't doing, that's what we need to do. We need to talk with our enemies so that we can stop World War III and really kind of bring as much peace, not just there, but everywhere in the Middle East as well as we can, so that we're not shipping weapons overseas, killing innocent people, and having these proxy wars and nation rebuilding efforts that are just costing us money, and nothing ever seems to get better, and we only seem to get more war from all of these efforts.
Agreed. And hold on, Lawrence Fine said he's a funnier version of Biden. Yes. Well, here are my thoughts on this. The longer this war progresses on, there is the danger of the conflict escalating. And yes, Ukraine did invade parts of Russia. Yes, Ukraine is striking in different parts of Russia. And to be clear here, yes, Russia is striking different parts of Ukraine. There was a few weeks ago before February, I think like in January, a missile hit somebody did. A drone strike did hit the remains of the Chernobyl facility, which last I checked, if you watch the TV show Chernobyl, or either watch any documentaries about it, that's the last place you want a weapon, drone, missile, hell, even a small arms fire, even from a Derringer bullet, and those things are weak, my lovelies, to be fired at, because if action wasn't taken properly or swift enough, perhaps the whole human species would be extinct. All right. So that's the one place you don't want to do anything at. Or either that, you don't want to see this escalate to the point to where Russia starts launching weapons of mass destruction. Yes. We launch ours, and then that's the end of the human species. And there is no recovery. And if there are any humans alive, we'll be a shadow husk of what we are. Peace needs to be. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think we are here in the U.S., we are numb, first of all, to war, because I know you're a veteran. You fought overseas. I have not, but I have family and friends that have. And I think the cost of war, the impact of war, is only understood by those people that are veterans that went to the Middle East, because we're ignorant. We're ignorant over here because we don't deal with it on our own soil, right? We had 9/11, but that was awful, obviously. But we don't deal with weddings getting blown up, schools getting blown up, hospitals getting blown up. All the stuff that we're doing overseas or enabling overseas, we don't deal with here. And I think we're numb to it. So when you hear about these things happening, it just, or even if you see them, it's overwhelming because it's too much. It's overstimulation because we don't deal with it on a day-to-day basis here like other countries do.
Absolutely. And I will add on to this as well, just real quick, because my time in service, we did site security and protection, and I'm very glad to say that all of my brothers, we came home alive and well in one piece for both of our tours. But, seeing as how since then we've been in Iraq, since the war on terror began way back in 2001, and we've been involved in a lot of these other conflicts, one has to wonder when we will see peace in our time. And yeah, it's just disappointing and sad to see that we are still playing this game of chicken. You still have people promoting and selling war and profiting off of it. And I want this war to end. I want this conflict to end, and I want that anxiety of WW3 off my back. I mean, I got plenty of things to worry about. I don't need to worry about being vaporized, especially when all my loved ones are in different states or in different countries. And, I was having a conversation with my family members when they were here during the holidays. And I was just thinking, like, it's so good to have them here with me. And, you got to enjoy these moments. And you have an administration and Zelensky himself not the Biden administration, to be more precise, gambling with this conflict, and Zelensky himself now going back and forth with Trump. I want Trump to be successful in this. I just hope that we're just not walking into further disappointment. I'll give you the final word. Go ahead.
Well, actually, my final thoughts, sure, but I wanted to ask you a question because I go back and forth. I think about, are we really sleepwalking into World War III? Our leaders will determine whether or not World War III happens. It's going to be what we enable and what we do, right?
Yeah.
So are they so ignorant to the fact that, like, we're not the global empire that we were 30 years ago? Or are they so convinced that we can keep pushing the buttons of our enemies, we'll say, or potential enemies, that we can just keep giving a little bit more, and then eventually, we'll maintain power and they'll cave to us? Or are they so ignorant that they don't even realize how close we are and how much on the brink we are?
I think it's a little bit of both. You have a lot of dumb politicians out there, but you also have politicians that know what they want. I mean, when you have guys like Bolton, for example, and Trump, Trump only apparently Trump, the only reason why he kept him around is because he was using him as a scary boogeyman. But, when you have Bolton speaking about wanting to have conflict with Iran and further conflict with Russia, yeah, there are people out there in Congress, in the Senate. They may not say it publicly, or some have, maybe privately, or maybe hinted at it in far better words, saying, like, yeah, no, we want this thing to escalate. And then you have just some dummies who think, well, everything will be fine. This isn't anything to sleepwalk into. And I think those that are sleepwalking into this are far worse, because their ignorance will help boost up those that want this to happen. Okay, so those that are sleepwalking or being dumb are far more dangerous than the ones that are publicly out there saying it, because you would think that there would be far more vigilant eagles and lions at the gates to prevent people that want to have World War III. And there is no recovery. And for those who will be hiding in your shelters, especially the top 1%, the echelon, things can fall apart. Things can break down. Air filters may not work right. You'll run out of food and water. And who's to say that there are some survivors? You want to be a great bonding moment for the survivors of a post-apocalyptic world. We patiently wait outside as our delicious, rich meals come out of their bunkers saying, hello, friends. Can you help us? And we'll say, hey, how delicious you look today. I mean, there's a great bonding moment for the survivors of the World War III that these politicians are either ignorantly or purposely promoting. Now, I want Trump to succeed in this peace talks with Russia. I do. And I hope that all parties involved will follow reason and be reasonable. That's the key word. Because if not, it's the end. So I hope that answers your question, because I think
it does. Yeah. I'm so surprised too by some of my, and these are like well-meaning, like progressive, I would describe progressive friends, saying things like, oh, Trump's, the clowning or making a fool of our country in front of world leaders and stuff based on what happened last Friday. I'm like, the way Trump does stuff is kind of crazy. And I think the memes that have come out of last Friday are top notch, some of the best I've seen. I've never laughed as hard as I have at some of these memes. So from entertainment purposes, it's funny. But sure, okay, his tactics aren't always, decorum and classy and what you'd expect or want from, the leader of the free world. But the message is it's shocking to me that some of the people that I would think would be very much for ending this war are actually kind of on the side of Zelensky here, thinking that he's some sort of victim. Which in a sense, sure, I
think he got played. Personally, I think he got played.
Yeah, oh, totally,
absolutely,
totally got played.
And it's a sad state of affairs because there are people who died, and once the dust is settled, once the cannons, the firing is done, all that will remain is the ghosts of the dead and the scarred wounded, walking the land of a war zone. And sooner or later, we're not going to get lucky anymore, and somebody's going to see that shiny red button, say, "What does this do?" and push it, and then that's it.